In this video, we're going to be working on this 1/14 scale beast again. The build is coming to an end, unfortunately and fortunately. It's exciting and kind of a bittersweet moment, I guess, is what you want to call it. It's fun to work on it, but at the same time, it's going to be great to see it run and all put together and painted up. Today, what we're working on is we're going to be filling the tires with epoxy and painting the truck. We're also going to be tying up a few odds and ends. So with that, let's jump right into it. Before we get started here, I just wanted to go over what this truck is all about, which is the 200-pound payload capacity, possibly less, possibly more. We're not exactly sure yet, but I think we are going to hit the goal of 200 pounds for payload capacity. We're going to be doing a run video next week on Monday. So be looking for that video because it's coming. Yeah, this truck has been a project and there's lots of build videos. I'm gonna have everything linked down in the description box below. So if you wanna go check out any of the other build videos, go down there. That's where they'll be. All right, so with that, let's finish this truck up. Okay guys, I'm gonna try and make this simple and quick, but it's not as easy as you would think. So what I wanted to go over here real quick was how to stiffen your tires up. These specifically are the 85 millimeter typical 1/14 scale tires that you're gonna see on a semi-type truck or vehicle. So with that out of the way, if you're trying to stiffen 85 millimeter tires like I am here, I am gonna give you guys the exact details on what you need to do and the materials that I am using that makes it easy and quick. Number one, you need your tire mounted on your rim. You gotta glue it with super glue first. Number two, you're gonna need 3 tubes of epoxy for each tire. Now this stuff is $2 or $3 a piece at Walmart, so it's not that bad, but it does add up when you have a bunch of tires to get, but this is the stuff I'm using and it's working well. Number three, you're gonna need a couple 60 cc, let's see, where is it here? 60 cc syringes here. They don't have needles, it's just a normal syringe with a normal end, so no need to worry about that. Real quick, I wanted to talk about just the capacity of the syringe and all of these epoxy tubes. Like I said, you need three epoxy tubes for each tire that you're filling, and these 60 cc tubes are just about perfect. When you have 3 tubes of epoxy mixed up in them, it comes up to about here. So again, the 60 cc tube is what you want to use. I know I explained this in another video, but we'll just go over it real quick. You need a bigger hole for the tip of the syringe to go into, and then a smaller hole for the air to escape as the epoxy is filling up in the tire. Now, as far as mixing the epoxy, what you want to do is get all your epoxy ready to go. So that means cut the tips off, get them all ready to be squeezed out. You need a piece of cardboard and something to mix it up with. I'm using this fork. The key here is to be quick with the epoxy. You want to get all 3 tubes out onto the mixing tray within 30 seconds or as quick as you possibly can. Then mix it up as quick as you possibly can and put it in the syringe as quick as you possibly can. Basically, you get the point. After you mix the epoxy, this is 5-minute set epoxy, so you need to be very quick. And then obviously, once you have the epoxy all mixed up, you pour it in the tube and you're gonna stick the tube in the tire. Really simple like. And then what I like to do is push it in there a little bit farther and then pull it back out a little bit and then start filling your tire. And you're gonna know when your tire is full because the epoxy is gonna be coming out of the smaller hole in the tire that's the vent hole. So there you go, that's how you stiffen up these tires. Now, I know I said I did all these tires in the video except one. When I said I did all the tires, I meant all the tires except one side of the back. So, and then another thing here, you can see I've got the outside rims off of the back. I believe I explained that a little bit in another video, but basically it's because we only really need 4 tires full of epoxy on the back of the truck. And then the outside tires, if they were really stiff, it just wouldn't be good. It might bend an axle or do some things we don't want it to do. So there you go. That's how you stiffen the tires. On to the next thing. All right, one more thing that I forgot here. that I wanted to mention. So the fill hole is at the top that you put your syringe in. The important part is that your vent hole is actually at the top of the tire like this. If you're trying to fill your tire and the vent hole is on the side or the bottom of the tire, it's just not going to work. Your tire's not going to fill up with epoxy. So you need to make sure your vent hole is at the top. And then when you're filling it up, once epoxy starts coming out of the vent hole, then you know that your tire is full if the vent hole is at the top. So there's one more thing I wanted to go over real quick before we move on, and that's just the use of this 100% acetone or nail polish remover. That's what you need. It's got to be acetone, and you need it to be 100%. What you're going to do with this stuff is you're going to use it to clean the syringes. I don't know about you guys, but these syringes were $7 for 2 of these, and that's pretty expensive, and I don't want to use a syringe just one time. So what you're going to do is immediately after you fill your tire with epoxy, you're going to take your syringe and I've got some acetone in a container here. You suck it up into the end of the syringe, and you want to work the syringe and suck the fluid in and out, and what that's going to do is clean out any of that excess epoxy that needs removed, and your syringe will be good to go for the next time after you dry it out and make sure that all the epoxy is out of the syringe. Now it's time to install the last part. So they finally came in. These were the last parts we were waiting for. They're actually going to be the fuel tanks of the truck. Okay, so the fuel tanks are on the truck on both sides. As you can see, they definitely help complete the look of the truck. That's the last physical thing we're going to do to the truck to change the looks of the truck, other than some paint. Obviously, the paint work is up next. What we need to do is disassemble a lot of things, do some cleanup work on the frame as far as just removing oils and greases and things like that. And then it'll be down to pretty much painting it. The frame is completely stripped as far down as I'm going to take it for paint. The rest of this stuff can stay, like all these suspension components, because that stuff all needs painted anyways. And then right here we've got all the drivetrain stuff. Probably not going to paint that stuff. And then of course here's all the other parts here. The box needs painted, and then also I need to take the wood out of the flatbed here, and I'm going to paint it as well. Not the wood, but the flatbed. So for right now, we're going to set the frame aside, and we're going to get to work on taking the planks out of the flatbed, and also these. As you can see, all the wood is removed from the flatbed. It's time to take the lacquer thinner and this rag and wipe it down. Time to lay the paint down. I've got some rusty metal primer just in case this thing has rusted at all during the building process, and then I'm going to finish it off with gloss black. While we're waiting for the paint on the flatbed to dry, we're going to go ahead and move on to painting the box. Remove the lid, mask off the fuel tank. 3, 2, 1, go. Now for the first coat on the frame. So here it is, the frame and flatbed and box are completely painted. Now the camera of course doesn't do it justice, but it looks absolutely amazing in person. As you can see, we have all the parts and pieces painted and ready to go. Now it's time to put them all back together. First things first, it's time to put the drivetrain back on the chassis of the truck. And bam, just like that, the drivetrain is installed. Front axle and steering servo. Bam. Fuel tanks. Electronics box. Flatbed. As promised, we're going to go ahead and take some felt, stick it onto each side of the frame to keep the cab from wiggling back and forth. And then also we're going to put some Velcro on these perches to hold the cab on. Felt, scissors. I can't find my Velcro right now, so what we're gonna do is just take some of this felt, put it on the bottom of the cab, and then that's just gonna keep the cab from scratching the frame. You can at least kind of see what I'm doing. Cab. It's a nice, tight, perfect fit. Let's see here, what else is missing? Oh yeah. Go. And go. It's not working. Let's see here. Abracadabra and go. Okay, perfect, it worked good then. Well, that's gonna be beautiful for the video. Okay, perfect. The truck looks pretty good. I'll be honest, there's like one more thing that we need to do to this. Oh, I just got paint all over it. Well, at least I got it on video. Yep, pretty much. All right, so here we go. This is a cheap paint marker. I'm just gonna make a pinstripe down the side here. What could go wrong? All right, I think that'll work. It's not the prettiest thing, but I think it helps the truck out a little bit. As you saw in the video, we pretty much finished the truck up. There are a few odds and ends to go through and kind of finish up. And I'll be doing some update videos over the coming weeks, probably of a few small things. For example, one of the things being the rear tail lights, whatever I decide to do with that. I'm not quite sure yet. So again, there'll be some update videos over some small things that you guys may notice that are not completely finished. But for now, the truck is pretty much fully functional, fully ready to go. And I will have a run video coming out next week on Monday. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you like this video if you liked it. Hit the bell to get your post notifications. That'll let you know whenever I post the run video of this truck, because you're not gonna wanna miss it. We're gonna be testing it out. We're gonna be testing out our 200-pound payload capacity, and I think it's gonna be pretty exciting, pretty neat to see what this truck can do. I'm sure it's well capable of 200 pounds, possibly more. So again, make sure you check back in next week. As I said before, there's gonna be all the other build videos linked in the description box below. So be sure to go check those out if you wanna check out any of this build. Again, this truck is pretty much all entirely custom built from the ground up. There's some obvious things that I didn't make, like the wheels, tires, cab, and a few other things on the truck, but for the most part, the structure and design and everything, flatbed, all that is all custom built. So if you wanna check out any of those videos and see how I did any of that stuff, again, links in the description box below. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Monday. Peace.